country in the world, and it is worth fighting for. It is worth bleeding for, and if it takes it, it's worth dying for the greatest country that this world has ever seen.
Hey, yeah, I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking. That's not Chad. That's not Graham. No, it's not. Now, listen, folks, welcome to the Dear America show. I will be your host today, Rumble's official redneck, Hot Seat Todd. And no, I'm not as loud as a Graham Allen. I'm not as cerebral as a Chad Prather. But you know what? I've got something that they don't have. And as soon as I figure out what that is, I'll let you know. But as I think about it, maybe it's my passion. Maybe it's the emotion. You know, the passion and the emotion that I get when I see what our country could be, what our country should be, and then the emotion you get when we figure out what our country is and what it actually stands for today in 2025. And those side effects typically include rage, anger, the willingness to violate a protection order, things of that nature. Take this, for example. With the 144 pick of the NFL draft, the Cleveland Browns select Shedeur Sanders, a mediocre quarterback at best. But the left took the NFL draft as an opportunity to lose its mind. Now, I know the Dear America family could care less about football, could care less about sports for that matter, but guess what? Chad and Graham's not here, so I'm going to talk about it. Harry Sisson took to Twitter and said that it was a catastrophe, that it was a running joke that Shedeur Sanders fell as far as he did, and the quarterbacks that were drafted in front of him, and he laughed. This coming from a guy that knows just about as much about football as a Miss American pageant contestant and has the athletic ability of Steve Urkel or Screech from Saved by the Bell. But pay no attention to Harry Sisson, because look no further than failed politician Jamal Bowman, who took to legacy media and Twitter and all the social media handles to let white America know that not drafting Shedeur Sanders was racist, and Shedeur Sanders didn't fit into that white category. Needless to say that the first number one overall pick of the NFL draft was a young black guy from Miami with dreadlocks and a massive chain, who was also a quarterback. Let's not forget the fact that 25 of the 32 draft picks in this year's first round of the NFL draft were all black, 25. Yet Shedeur Sanders not getting drafted in the first round was somehow racist. Let's not take in consideration that 2 NFL scouts, 2 NFL GMs said that Shedeur had the worst interview that they've ever seen in NFL combine history, that he was arrogant, that he was cocky, and he just wasn't cocky enough with the talent that he had. So how about we just scratch this one up to maybe, just maybe. Now, I don't take anything away from Shedeur Sanders. He's a good player. He's going to do just fine. But let's not forget the fact that he played at Jackson State, which is here in my state of Mississippi, that he played in Colorado, which, I mean, ain't really, that's like a lateral move. And quite possibly he's not that good. But it's not a race thing. It's not a, as Stephen A. Smith would say, it's not a collusion thing among NFL teams. Maybe, just maybe, Shedeur Sanders is not that good. But again, I digress. That is the state that our country is currently in right now, where we look at not the real problems we have in America, but we spend our entire weekend arguing where an African-American quarterback should be drafted by an NFL team. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have a long and a laundry list of stuff to talk about, and the more we continue into this show, the madder I'm going to get, whether it be the weekend of ICE raids or finding out that the Black Hawk pilot was exactly what we thought she was, and During an ICE raid in Colorado, there was actually 12 members of the United States military used as armed guards protecting illegals. Pete Hegseth, sir, I'm going to need you to get on that. But before we get into all that and before we get into the crew and the Avenger team that I have assembled for this show without Chad and without Graham, let's talk really, really quick about our sponsor, American Financing. How about it? Yeah, let's do this. Uh-oh. All right, can y'all hear us now? Because I was literally just got a text message from Graham that say I'm muted. Guys, can y'all hear me?
Oh, that is fantastic.
I can hear you.
I can hear you wonderfully, brother.
I can hear both of you now.
Hey, isn't that
All right,
amazing
anyway,
thing?
so here's
Let us
the
know in
team.
the chat if you can hear us.
Can
for
y'all
sure.
hear? Can y'all hear anything
Oh, they said
right
sound
now?
now. Yep.
Okay, good. Well, we're just going to have to keep it at this. I don't know
Yep.
what happened. I didn't touch nothing. And that was amazing. Can I just say that was an epic monologue? So
It was
just
pretty good.
Tony here, TJ with I Came With Fire. I don't know what happened. I clicked the live button. I didn't touch nothing. So, little embarrassment to me, but again, y'all are used to technical difficulties, so here we go. Let's just hope
They just
that
couldn't hear the ad read, brother. That was all.
Oh, you just couldn't hear the ad read? You could hear everything else? Oh, well, that's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the sponsor read was silent, but y'all could hear everything else.
Yes.
Well, good.
So
Then
your,
we're
your
good to go.
monologue.
I heard
ran
it all.
brother.
I don't know what's going on, but I heard it all. So
Yeah. All right. Well, then to each his own. Let's continue with the show. I do have a really, really quick. I noticed something over the weekend, and I told Tony and TJ here that I'm gonna put open family discussion before we get into everything. And so I'm driving home. I got to spend the weekend with Tony. Producer Zach got married over the weekend. For those of you that have been long listeners of the Dear America show, and as a man. Okay, and those of you who know me, I'm all man. I am the poster child for the left's toxic masculinity. I'm the poster child for it. So TJ, Tony, when I go from point A to point B, all right, if I'm going on a 6-7 hour road trip, my goal is get there. I don't care about hey, let's take the scenic route. Let's make multiple stops. I'm trying to go from point A to point B. Well, here's a problem. There's this lane in the road. It's on the far left side. It's called the fast lane. Nobody seems to know what that lane is anymore. And I'm here to tell you that if I would have had 007's car by the time I got home, I would have been out. I would have had to need a total refill of any ammunition that I had, which got me to thinking, I don't know about your state, and here's the political statement. I don't know about your state, but during COVID, kids were getting driver's license based on their parents' signature. No driving test, no taking the written test, no nothing. If your parents said you could drive, that was good enough for the state. And so we literally have a generation of people driving cars right now that got licenses based on what their parents thought. Didn't matter if they had 12 DUIs and they're riding dirty because they couldn't afford insurance because of how many wrecks they had. Am I by myself here?
DJ, please go ahead.
Somewhat in that sense, yes. What we ended up with is we ended up with a massive backup of availability for appointments. So what they did is they made you schedule appointments online. They shut down all the phones, and they backed it up to where people were taking 3 to 4 months to get approved to go in for individual appointments to be able to take their driver's tests and get their licenses out here at the DMVs of Texas, which, in my opinion, was also a shameful thing. But to be able to maintain that element of social distancing, that's the way they went about it, and that backlog continued for well over a year after everything had been lifted.
Just total insanity, man.
Yeah.
Total. And that got me to thinking, like, when I mean, because I'm telling you, I don't like that. If you're in the fast lane doing 5 miles under the speed limit, ask Kendra, I lose it. But then I got to thinking, well, we had like 4 years of kids not taking driving tests. That would be why.
That's a big problem.
I think for me, Todd, it's a little different because I don't know if I'm just more patient now. I mean, don't get me wrong, I lose my what also, but I mean, I have a few more seconds to just kind of relax and just pull to the middle lane and like, well, whatever, man, you take your time there. I must be getting old. I must be turning into my dad or something. I'm driving the speed limit, just chilling, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, I forgot you drive like a papal, so yeah. All right, well,
I will admit, brother, the road rage thing, it's difficult. That's probably one of my quickest routes to anger, unfortunately, still as well. And I try to curb it because I quite often have a whole litter of kids inside the vehicle, but it's rough for sure.
All right, let's get into the show.
I got you. Let's do it. Okay, so this was the weekend, of ice raids. This was, from Florida to Colorado Springs to everywhere. Ice was on the move this weekend. And so we're going to start with the one that honestly pisses me off the most, and that is Colorado Springs, Colorado. It's not about the arrest. It's not about the ice raids. It's not even about what was going on in the club, okay? It is who was protecting said club. So I'm going to play this clip here. It's about 30 seconds long, and we'll talk about it. All right, so anyway, ICE raids this club in Colorado. They arrested 100+ criminal illegals that particular night. And the caption is, "This is what I voted for." Did everybody get kicked? What just happened? Okay, hang on a second. Man, EV Mux is going crazy right now. But this is what I voted for. You guys?
Yeah, DJ, please.
Most certainly, yeah. No, this is exactly what we wanted. And again, when all of this first started up and when Trump was, campaigning and it was out there before he was elected in November, Tom Homan had come out many times when he was first talked about being the border czar. Their work that they were wanting to put together and these different pillars they discussed of how they were going to enforce all these ICE raids was very clear. And we voted for this for sure. We did, unanimously as a nation here for the most part with a pretty sweeping victory. And this is exactly what we were looking for. It's exactly what needs to happen. And it's going to be one of the most effective ways to be able to vet the fact that there's 30 million illegal immigrants in our country right now, and they need to be removed in the best way possible. These types of raids allow them to get a mass of people in a short amount of time rather than trying to hunt them down one by one, which is so tedious. It would take decades. So it's definitely a victory as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, 100%. So, we got more footage. There's more footage of this DEA raid that ended up, like I said, arresting over 100+ illegals. But you had MS-13, Tren de Agua, over 100 illegals. But understand something, that the Democrats in Colorado just last week passed a bill to protect the illegals.
Yep.
This is where we are. And so what I want to do now is, we got several clips of it, but I just want to skip all of it and get to the one portion that, if you're watching this show and you're listening to my voice, this should absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, make you pull your hair out. Okay? Because this particular club had armed security, but it wasn't cartel members. All right, it wasn't an agency. No. I'm going to let this DEA agent tell you who it was.
So this is an underground illegal nightclub, Okay, and what was happening inside was significant drug trafficking, prostitution, crimes of violence. We seized a number of guns in there. We had active duty service members who were running security at the club.
What? What?
How does that make you guys feel? You guys obviously are, in the trenches there. How does that make you guys feel?
Okay, this is you know what this is not a guy that just bought a DEA agent jacket off of Amazon. This is like a legit DEA agent, ICE agent, federal law enforcement that literally just admitted on live television that there were 10 members of the active duty military, not the guard, not the weekend guys, not the reserve, active duty military members as armed security at an illegal nightclub where there was prostitution, human trafficking. What?
It's a pathetic representation of what we should be, and it's a great example of why there are so many problems and such a great need of reform in our military right now. And hopefully, Pete Hegseth and everybody else who's kind of running down the ranks there is going to take care of problems like this, because things like this can't be going on. It's bad enough that we've had to eliminate all of the rot from the DEI and everything else that's been going on within the military. There's been fighting back from the judiciary branch to try to keep those executive orders from removing all the transgenders, and that battle's going back and forth. And now we've got stuff like this, where it's just another stain on the name of what should be some of the most respectable and outstanding individuals in our country.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, I don't know if we're going to talk about this or not, Todd. I don't remember seeing the show notes, but we did see this last weekend of, them arresting the judges that were hiding the illegal immigrants as well. So, I mean, the whole, from the top down, what Trump is doing in there with Pete and all the new administration is he's trying to make our country get to where it's supposed to be with our laws and our constitution and everything like that. I mean, I feel bad, but don't feel bad for all these people who got caught in the raid, because if you're here in the country legally, I mean, sorry, but not sorry. I mean, you're breaking the law. There's going to be consequences. So it's that simple.
Yeah, I'm 100%. Go ahead and just write this on your calendar for this show particular, because once we get to another clip, I'm definitely going to go on my soapbox and talk about Pete Hegseth, United States military, and the condition of our military prior to what it is now. But this, if you are a leftist, epitard, mouth breathing, rock with lips, rooster fish in the chat right now, I don't want to hear another word about Pete Hegseth and why he should be gone, why the military shouldn't be fixed. Okay, because TJ, I know you know this, and I know the guys I Came with Fire know this. We've had several conversations with Katarina Schultz, who is literally a reporter embedded with the cartels that knows more about the cartels than I care to know about. And one thing that she said to me one time that stuck out was it would blow your mind at what their vines are tangled up in your American government.
Mm-hmm.
That
Absolutely.
right there is enough to scare the piss out of me. You've got 10 to 12 active duty service members pulling security at a cartel illegal nightclub. That's all I need to know right there. And Pete Hegseth, sir, go. Now,
Yeah.
they are currently in custody of the Army, the Criminal Investigation Division of the United States Army. But no, like book, throw, hard.
It leads me to question, why are they doing this? Because that would be the equivalent of detectives who are investigating the mob and running security for them. Same kind of thing. I mean, they see that ICE has been using the National Guard and them to go and help do the raids and whatnot. Why would these soldiers think it's okay for them to provide security unless the cartels or whatnot have something on them that's forcing them to do it? But I mean, still, I mean, I don't know. It's a question that has maybe no answer. Maybe they're not going to say anything.
I don't know, but something needs to happen because I mean, listen, them raiding nightclubs and getting people out of this country that don't belong here is one thing. All right, that's bad enough. But when you have members of the military actively participating in this thing, I'm pretty sure I took the oath of enlistment, and I'm pretty sure that was nowhere to be found in it.
Most certainly
I'm
not.
pretty sure that wasn't in there. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they rewrote it. I retired in 2018. Maybe they put that as a footnote. I don't know. But to continue on with this, so ICE continues, and apparently the state of Florida has this new operation going, and and it's titled beautifully. It is Operation Tidal Wave. Started 4 days ago, and it's going pretty well. So let's pull this up.
ICE Miami and Florida law enforcement arrested nearly 800 undocumented migrants in the first 4 days of their Operation Tidal Wave this week. In response, Governor Ron DeSantis posted that, quote, Florida is leading the nation in active cooperation with the Trump administration for immigration enforcement and deportation operations.
Can I just say, Ron DeSantis, as far as governors is concerned, he's the GOAT.
No doubt.
Like,
setting some legendary standards.
as a presidential nominee, you know, I don't know why that mishap happened. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me, because it's like as soon as he decided to run for president, it's like his brain fell out in the floor. But as far as the governor of Florida is concerned, like, I want to move to Florida.
For real.
I mean, he's not standing in the way. His law enforcement is actively participating with ICE. And I mean, every state could look at the state of Florida, whether it's immigration, whether it's voting, counting votes. It's not hard. Just copy, cut, paste.
Exactly.
Whatever Florida's doing, and your state will be fined.
Yep.
Heck yeah. I can agree with that entirely.
And the left is gonna play this like, oh my gosh, you know, they're gathering innocent bystanders, and you know they're taking kids away from their parents, whatnot. You know, no, they shouldn't be here in the first place. You know, and just touching on what you said, TJ. I mean, we didn't have a chance to vet any of these people. You know, at any point in time, all these people, any one of these people can be a sleeper cell, and all of a sudden we have another freaking attack, another 9/11, or another Oklahoma City something. So obviously, you know, we're trying to make our country safe for the legal American citizens that are in our country.
Yeah, 100%. And one more little niche here on the whole immigration thing. Do y'all remember? I think it was last week where Christy Gnome, her purse got stolen. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, it had her government phone, her keys, her wallet, her government ID, everything in said purse. And I think it's kind of funny that it just got lifted. But did y'all see the mugshot of the guy that they arrested who stole it? Have y'all seen
I did
this?
not. No. I haven't
Oh
seen it.
man, it's epic. It's epic. So yeah, an illegal immigrant accused of snatching Christy Gnome's Gucci bag, identified as a serial criminal from Chile.
Perfect.
Like, I'm not a comedian, but this would be a good time to have Chad. That headline as a comedian writes itself.
No
Like,
doubt.
I mean, I really don't have to say anything to that. But my question to you guys, like really quick before we move on to Birch Gold, my question to you guys is, if I'm in this country illegally, okay, if I'm here illegally and Trump gets elected, me personally, I'm hiding. You know, I'm keeping a very low profile. I'm like Men in Black in everything, you know, racing fingerprints, no digital footprint, no social media. I can tell you one thing I'm definitely not doing, and that is snatching Christy Gnome's purse.
No doubt. Or anybody's purse for that matter. I mean, committing crimes further while you're here illegally to begin with is just more of a chance of you to get caught and have more brought against you, and assuredly going to get you deported. If I was illegal in this country right now, I'd be finding one of those tunnels that they're trying to shut down, and I'd
Yeah.
be going back through the tunnel the opposite direction.
Dude,
Just
like,
try to get
seriously,
away clean.
I'm just sitting here thinking, I'm like, man, if I would move to like a place where nobody lives, I don't know, like Montana, and I wouldn't have the internet, and I would just be a normal dude. But that just goes to show you the entitlement that Joe Biden and his administration created for 4 years. Come over here, we'll pay your way, we'll give you this, we'll give you food, we'll give you a house, we'll give you a car, you know, we'll give you money to do your nails, you know, we'll give you everything. You don't even have to learn the language or wave our flag. You don't have to do nothing. Just come over here, hang out with us, and we'll take care of everything. And this is what happens. This is
Well,
what you create.
well, when I mean, if I was illegal, um, I it's one of those things where I think these people are getting desperate. Honestly, I think Trump and their administration has cut off all their funding, all their free hotels, all their Visa cards, with $2,500 each, and they're getting desperate. Obviously, there's raids going on, and the administration gave them the choice to self-deport yourself, and obviously it's worse in their respective countries than staying here and possibly being caught criminally, because obviously we know that the jails here are like freaking the Hilton compared to the jails they have in third world countries. So even if they hold them here, they get caught, they hold them here, there's gonna be a process where they're gonna be in jail for a couple of weeks before they get deported again. So whatever time they can spend in here, they're gonna do that, whether it be doing crime, trying to work illegally or whatnot. I mean, they're gonna be here as long as they can because they're already here, and that's a product of what the Biden administration did. You're gonna have desperate people doing desperate things.
For sure.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Okay, so before we move on to segment B of this particular episode, let's take a second and talk about our next sponsor, which is, y'all know them well. It is Birch Gold. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right now, like seriously, with all the tariffs that have hit the economy, with all the tariffs that Trump have imposed, the one thing he didn't touch is precious metals. All right, they have thrown the global economy into chaos. Widespread inflation tied to massive supply disruption is weighing heavily on all of us. But there is a silver lining that people missed. Trump specifically exempted gold and silver bullion from the sweeping tariffs. While these new policies are triggering significant financial chaos, the administration preserved your ability to diversify into precious metals. The first step, okay, if you want to jump on this wagon right now, the first step is to text the word DEAR. That's DEAR. Text the word DEAR to 989898 right now, and you will receive your free, no obligation info kit on gold to learn how gold and silver in a tax sheltered account. Birch Gold will help you convert your existing IRA, retirement, or 401k into precious metal with no money out of pocket. We buy our gold from Birch Gold. It's finally time for you to do the same thing. So bottom line with this, guys, is all we're asking you to do is get information. All right, so pull out your cell phones for just a second. Text the word DEAR, DEAR, to 989898 right now. Get your free info kit from Birch Gold. What do you have to lose? As Trump says, what you got to lose? Text the word DEAR to 989898. Now, I figured out why they couldn't hear me on the full screen. So y'all get to stomach me doing this. But
Beautiful.
So the judges.
The judges.
The judges. So a Milwaukee judge, Hannah Dugan, which should have been named Karen, I'm pretty sure her middle name's Karen, was arrested by the FBI for allegedly helping an illegal immigrant evade arrest. Last time I checked, that's not a judge's job. But we're going to talk about it because the left that's all they're talking about right now. So she previously ranted on how she used the law to advance social change for those of us who are the most vulnerable. And according to FBI Director Kash Patel, Dugan was arrested on obstruction charges. The FBI arrested her out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin on charge of obstruction after evidence of the judge obstructed an immigration arrest operation last week. We believe that Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest. And this is 3 minutes. We'll play some of it, not all of it.
The law is a real challenge in making sure that justice happens for people. It's transformative in people's lives, but it also, especially in the United States, it's considered a stabilizing force. It's something that keeps us on a constant path. The rule of law is how we address our social issues, how we address our disputes, but also how we grow as people. The rule of law is premised on equal justice, but also we have evolved into due process.
All right, I'm done. Okay, because I
Yeah,
you know,
that was
that's
a good
like
amount.
nails on a chalkboard. So this is the second judge to be arrested by Kash Patel and company, and the left has just completely lost their mind. I taken it to, because you guys help me out here. Y'all remember when all the Trump trials were going on? I mean, their go-to, like the sentence of the entire election was "No one is above the law." No one is. I mean, you could go on Twitter and just search "No one is above the law," and Sisson, JoJo, Alex Cole, all these Pecker Woods. I mean, they would all just populate. I mean, immediately. Then you'd get Elizabeth Warren, Timu Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, giving these long, drawn-out speeches about, and of course, Jasmine Crockett. She said it multiple times. I'm surprised she could spell it, but she said it multiple times. But now it's kind of like if you go into a casino and you go to like the what are the things called, the slot machines, and you see all those old people just pounding the button. That's all them deleting those tweets. Like, oh, we got to get rid of them. But the good news is the internet is forever.
That's right.
Because Rachel, oh God,
Mad Cow,
Mad Al. This is just a little shred of evidence how the left just continually, they shift the narrative so much that honestly, I don't even think they know what their narrative is anymore. I don't. But, whatever. We'll play it. I can't stand this woman.
Nobody's above the law. We only have one system of law for everyone. Nothing about being an elected official gives you a license to commit crimes or a license to get away with it if you do. Why step up politically and defend a judge or a prosecutor? That's supposed to be a non-political part of our system. It's not like we didn't know it was going to be terrible. And it is terrible. He really did have a judge arrested today. Arresting a judge today. Are you kidding me?
I thought no one was above the law. I mean, because listen, this entire argument, and it just goes back to this absolutely blows my mind. The whole no one is above the law, the whole due process, all of this stuff. Okay, as a judge, because a judge, kind of like the military, you take an oath too.
That's right.
To uphold the law. And TJ Tony, I'm sorry, but the last time I checked, crossing the border illegally violates the law. Does or does it not?
Absolutely does.
It does. And my fear is this is just a couple of judges that they've dropped the hammer on. How many judges like this are there? Number two is, if they're willing to bend the law for an illegal immigrant, how much are they willing to bend the law when their interpretation of what they think the law is supposed to be when you're on trial for something? I mean, it really is scary. I mean, we saw what happened with Trump when he was on trial in New York. That judge literally told them all, "You guys don't have to have a unanimous decision. Just as long as 5 of you can, we can get him on a different charge." I mean, it was mind blowing that they're changing the law as they're doing it in real time in front of us, and they think we're stupid or something. They're making it up as they go, and that is just super scary to see that these judges think that they're above the law and they can do whatever they want.
That's exactly right, and it's a rules for the not for me situation with the left, as it always is.
There
to bring
it
a
is.
little bit more clarity to this. What happened with this is this gal had, this illegal immigrant, his attorney, and everybody in the courtroom. There was news that there were federal officials outside ready to come in and apprehend him because he was supposed to be deported for other crimes. They knew he was in the country illegally. She directed him and his attorney to a side hallway and told them how they could exit the courthouse and try to evade that particular apprehension. That's how that went down. So, that's why I love the alleged portion of it. And I get it. Everybody is innocent until proven guilty. And that is very important for a reason. But at the same time, she was caught red-handed, not only having this conversation, but there's cameras all over the courtroom. So when you're directing.
Yeah, it's not hard to see the robe going,
go this way.
Not that way. That way. No.
Yeah, I mean,
that way and turn right.
And where does it stop? I mean, are we going to have detectives and what, hiding evidence? I mean, are we? I mean, I don't get it. I mean, you enable these people to be able to do this because the liberals are voting them in and they're keeping them there and they're justifying them keeping their jobs because they are protecting people who are here for asylum or whatever they try to justify it. But I mean, it's hurting the American people, the people that built this country, the people that are paying taxes into this country. It's hurting all of us because then we have to worry about having a liberal judge when something happens to the people who actually belong here, and it's just not. It's I don't know. I'm with Todd now. I think we should just split the country in half. Let the liberals go on one side. We'll take
Let
the
'em
other side.
have it.
Yep, let them have it.
Yeah, let them have it because this is a word, and Tony, you said it a minute ago. This is a word that I really get tired of hearing, and that word is interpretation. Okay, I really get tired of hearing that word. I've been tired of that word for a long time because as a Christian, biblical interpretation drives me wild. Because I mean, listen, unless never mind, I can't say that on the show. I'll say it at 3 on my show. Interpretation, everything's in black and white. The law is in black and white. There is no interpretation needed that if you cross the border illegally, you're a criminal. That makes you a criminal. If I'm doing 75 in a 55, there's no need for interpretation. You don't need a judge going, well, I mean, technically you're a criminal, but that's not how I read it. That's not interpretation. Okay, that's changing the law, not interpreting the law. And that's the part that's driving me crazy. That's why we have like 172,000 denominations in the Christian church now. And that's why we have leftist judge and rightist judge and center judges and yo judge and my judge and their judge, is because we just throw this word interpretation out like candy at a freaking homecoming parade. It drives me crazy.
And that's what I mean about splitting the country, because I mean we're at the point right now where everybody's interpreting the laws their own way, and yet we're trying to pass a law that says only American citizens can vote in our country. I mean, that is written in law there already. I mean, yet let's pass another law so we can 100% sure make sure that happens. I mean, it makes no sense. And again, split the country up. You guys can let whoever you guys can let freaking King Kong vote for all we care. You guys, do your own thing over there with your own leader over there. Just stupid.
Sure. Absolutely no, and you're right about the interpretation thing, Todd. The complication there, and this has been going on forever, and many of you out there have probably heard this come across people's lips. If somebody gets a DUI per se, attorneys know what judges are more lenient for particular crimes, and they'll tell you, we need to make sure we try to get you in court on such and such a date because this judge has a greater likelihood of sympathizing with you and letting you off or reducing your sentence or whatever else. And that's another huge problem, is we shouldn't have things like that going on. The law should be enforced evenly.
Y'all go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and just I want y'all to write this down and just put it somewhere. Wherever you're watching the show, you two guys just write this statement down and tuck it in a desk, and I'll have you pull it out later on in the year, because the entire interpretation of self-defense is going to change forever during the Carmelo Anthony trial. That'll change forever. Write it down. You heard it from Rumble's official redneck first. Just remember that. So if you were paying attention this weekend, they buried the Pope. TJ, I got to be careful because you're Catholic.
Maybe not as careful as you think.
Yeah. I have certain feelings about this Pope. I don't want to make anybody too angry. But what I will say is there was more attention on the things that didn't matter than it was the funeral of the Pope. I don't know about you guys, but that particular day, you scroll through Twitter and I either saw a picture of Joe Biden looking great, which was the one picture. It was this one picture. They didn't get a picture of him grabbing Archbishop's arm and had to be led down a flight of steps, but no, we missed this guy, whatever. But the color of a suit was trending. Not the Pope, not the funeral, not the tears, nothing. The color of Donald Trump's suit is what was trending during the Pope's funeral. And so here we go. If you've heard anything about the Pope's funeral from the drive-by media, which that's exactly what it was, you heard that Trump thumbed his nose at the Vatican and was told to wear black, and he wore blue. Everyone, folks, everyone at that funeral was wearing blue. Joe Biden, blue. So you see Trump's suit here, okay? It's blue, okay? But then you look at the crowd and blue. I don't even know what this is, but it's blue. Blue, 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 bluey, blue, 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 blue everywhere. But Donald Trump, oh my God, folks, he wore blue. And I mean, again, blue, 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 blue right there. It blows my mind. The media blew it up. And of course, JoJo, Harry, and those little leftist roosterfish epitards had a field day with this, criticizing Donald Trump for wearing a blue suit to attend the Pope's funeral, where I just showed you hundreds of people were wearing blue. And so I have to ask the question, because again, if you think about this too long, your eyes will cross and you'll pass out. Why does it matter what color his suit was? Why?
Well, I don't know about TJ, but I mean, I have a statement and a question. Number one, I think they are putting such attention on Trump wearing blue because I think they want to stay away from the fact that this Pope was so progressive and so almost like his views were so liberal. I mean, you've seen a bunch of people who are Catholic come out and say like, I mean, may he rest in peace, but good riddance kind of thing. I mean, wasn't he the Pope that was like all religions lead to Jesus kind of thing? I mean, all the gay marriage and, trans and all that stuff. So, I mean, I'm not Catholic. I was raised Catholic. I'm not a practicing Catholic, but I mean, TJ, you said you were. I'd like to get your opinion on that.
Of course.
But, it really is. You're right, Todd. I mean, why focus on who gives a crap what they're wearing? And is this a thing that people are getting more like not disrespectful with the Catholic Church or with the Vatican or whatnot? But if they ask everybody to come wearing black and you see half of them are wearing whatever they want, blue, does that mean that they don't hold the Catholic Church and Vatican in such high regard like they used to?
That is quite a possibility. And I guess the first thing I'll clarify on this is yes, you're exactly right. There was a lot of scrutiny put towards Pope Francis for a slew of reasons. And some things that they claim that he said were not directly out of his mouth, but things that he did do was write letters of recommendation and accommodation to different bishops and different cardinals that were supporting the alphabet soup community, that were supporting transgender rallies, that were supporting gay marriage, and things that go completely against all doctrine. And that's the complication with it all. Is in the end, Catholicism is essentially the combination of Catholicism and the Eastern Orthodoxy was the oldest form of the faith, period, of Christianity. It is what was formed by the apostles directly after the resurrection. And it grew into what it is, and is still one of the longest standing and most devoted faiths on the planet. The problem with that is it's not supposed to change. The Vatican's job and the Pope's job as the figurehead of the Vatican and the figurehead of the Church is to uphold all of the standards and principles of the Word. The Word is living, but the Word is not supposed to be reinterpreted based upon the times. And that is a statement he made directly, is that the times have changed, and sometimes you need to change with them. Well, no,
it's not
the
the way that
Word of God
works.
does not change. His expectations for mankind has not changed.
I'm pretty
Jesus'
sure that's in
sacrifice
Scripture
did not
somewhere.
change. It absolutely is.
I'm pretty
Many
sure that's written
places,
somewhere.
many places in Scripture for sure, brother. And that's the complication with it. So yes, the death is a tragedy, and it always becomes a very taxing time because technically the faith is without a pope right now. But there has been a history of what have been considered to be dark popes or anti-popes that have gone throughout the church as well, because unfortunately people fall underneath political influence. People can fall underneath monetary influence. And again, a lot of times with popes, you're dealing with older people. If you want to kind of put it in a Joe Biden sense, they can be easily steered and told, okay, this is what you're supposed to be reading today. Here's what you're supposed to be saying today. And that influence comes into the pockets of a lot of those bishops in Rome that also are not on the up and up. And that's a very, very sad thing to know. But it's true. Corruption lies everywhere. We're a planet of 8 billion people. And there's no way that a faith as massive as Christianity, which is still edging out just a little bit above the Muslims there, is not going to have a slew of corrupt people within it as well with those types of numbers. And that goes all the way to the church. And we know there's been plenty of corrupt priests and pastors and everything, evangelists on television and everywhere else as well. Money moves people to evil very easily. It is
Yeah.
one
And
of the best
that's
rules of
all.
the devil.
and I'm not knocking anybody's faith here, but that's always been like my question mark when it comes to Catholicism is I'm not going into a little room and talking to a guy. I'm going to the source. I want to go to the book itself and go to the source. And so, I got nothing against people who, they love the Pope. They go do their confessions and, their little, stuff. I got nothing against that, but I don't understand the man being in between me and God. Yeah, no, not when I can, go around him and go straight to the source. That's just what I'm going to do, and that's where I think you invite corruption. When man is involved, that's when you invite corruption, as we've seen with Pope Francis, who wrote the long, detailed letter to J.D. Vance and President Trump about the immigration policies of America, writing it from the Vatican with his 40-foot high walls and machine gun nests protecting him. So that's just kind of where I stand on that. But to each his own. So before we go any further, we are at the 50-minute mark in 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, at the top of the hour, we're all going to be one big happy family, and we are going to raid Vince's show. Now, I know that you guys don't like the raid button, but we are in with Rumble in this morning's lineup. It's us, Vince, and then Steven Crowder, and we raid one another to help the algorithm up and to help the morning lineup go. So don't complain about the raid. Once you see it, you can click the opt-out button and stay here with us, or you can go hang out with Vince for a few minutes and then come back and hang out with us. But at the top of the hour, that raid will be initiated. And that's a great thing about America. You have the freedom to do whatever you want. So welcome to America. But before we get into that, let's talk about, this is my favorite read, and that is Backyard Butchers, because, y'all, I am a meat guy. I am a steak guy. I am a fat kid at heart. Mm-hmm. So TJ is from Texas, and why not with this? Okay, Backyard Butchers offers from Texas ranches, no BS, no jargon, no hormones, no nothing. Okay, you can get your ribeyes, fillets, whatever you want. I mean, just look at these boxes. I mean, you can get the steakhouse box, the backyard box, or the farmhouse box. Go away, Tyler. All right. 2 14-ounce T-bones. All right. 13-ounce bone-in ribeyes, 6-ounce fillets, 7 ounces of sirloin steaks, and 8 4.25-ounce burger patties shipped right to your house from Texas ranchers, backyardbutchers.com. Listen, right now, in the 30-day mark is almost up, okay? And Chad talks about this all the time, but go to backyardbutchers.com/Chad. He spells it Chad, C-H-A-D, and you can get this price lock, but you only probably got a couple weeks left, okay? The link is in the description. Or if you want a whole steer, you can order a whole steer, and they'll deliver it to your house monetarily over time. But why not, guys?
That's what I'm looking into. I'm looking into getting a whole steer. I'm saying it.
Yep. I mean, here it is. At Backyard Butchers, we believe in service to the community. That's why we cut out the middleman and bring amazing quality meat straight to you and your family at a price you can actually afford. Their commitment is the quality, responsibility, and the price is amazing. So listen, go to backyardbutchers.com/Chad. Use promo code Chad. He spells it Chad, C-H-A-D. Promo code Chad. Get that price lock right now before the price goes up in the next few months, because we don't know what's going to happen. So backyardbutchers.com/Chad.
Let's get some meat.
Okay.
Right. I've had meat from some of those sources, and I can testify right here. It is absolutely fantastic.
So good.
Good stuff. Good.
So
man.
good. Man, you put that ribeye on top of your head, your tongue will beat your brains out trying to get to it.
That's right.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Okay. This is the sensitive part. Okay, so y'all remember a few months ago, the Black Hawk pilot that crashed into the airplane at D.C. Now, we had a whole lot of woulda, coulda, shoulda, possiblies, maybes, DEI, yada, yada, yada. And again, I live by the Bongino rule. I would rather be right than first. Well, so this has been reported as of late last night. So apparently, the female Black Hawk pilot that collided with an American Airlines flight had made multiple mistakes, ignored a warning from her co-pilot, which, by the way, her co-pilot right here in Mississippi grew up 30 miles down the road in Noxubee County. He was an instructor pilot, all right, according to the New York Times. Not only Was the Black Hawk flying too high? But in the final seconds before the crash, its pilot failed to heed a directive from her co-pilot, an Army flight instructor, to change course. The reports also puts blame on the air traffic controller for not being clear and urgent enough, however, to warrant Officer Andrew Eves, who was the co-pilot, and the instructor of Captain Rebecca Lobach, told her to turn left, but she did not. So basically, you have a Army Black Hawk pilot. That's a female. Don't care about gender. It could have been anybody. Next to her is a co-pilot, an Army flight instructor, told her to turn left. You're too high. She ignored and crashed into a plane. All right, boys, thoughts?
Ooh, this one, it gets a little fire going underneath because, of course, this is something that we've talked about all over the shows for quite some time, all of the DEI and the consequences of it. And this is, again, a DEI hire situation. This is a gal who was, taking pictures with Biden, was another one of those shining examples of let's make an example out of this for our narrative rather than actually making sure that people who are qualified, who will actually listen to their superiors, will listen to somebody who's a co-pilot like a flight instructor giving you advice or instruction there as to what to do and ignoring it and the consequences of those actions. And that's what happens when you don't choose the best person for a job, but you choose somebody who ticks particular boxes based upon their appearance or their gender. And that doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, I'm with you 100%, TJ. And I mean, I am not what you would call a very confident flyer when I get on a commercial airline. But I gotta tell you, I mean, and this might sound racist, but if I see a white dude flying the plane, I'm like, I'm good. But if I see a woman or somebody else flying there, I'll be like, I was like, did you go to flight school? Did you go? I'm just saying, man. I mean, it is one of those things. And it brings me down. It calms me down. And I'm not saying it to be an ass or anything like that. But I'm just, something in me just sees. If I see like a white older pilot, I was like, all right, this guy obviously has experience. He looks confident. He knows what he's doing. And then you think about all the DEI stuff. I'm like, nope, sorry, not sorry.
Okay, well, I've got about 3 minutes to wrap up this particular portion of it before we get to the raid. So, listen, I need you to stop what you're doing because you want to hear this. Stop chatting for a second. Stop. Hit the like button. Hit the share button, because you're going to want to hear what I have to say. And maybe you don't. You're going to listen anyway. All right, so first thing I want you to do, American flag in the chat. Full of it. Fill it up. American flag. I want to see the chat going 100 miles an hour. American flags, everybody, click it until Rumble tells you to stop clicking it. American flags, let's go. To my leftist epitard brethren, okay, that hates DEI, okay, that thinks the military should be full and run according to diversity, equity, and inclusion. Continue with the flags. Continue, because it just motivates me and it gets my spirit up, and I'm just going to roll. So keep it going. Faster, faster, faster. The military is not a Fortune 500 organization. This is not Target. This is not Walmart, okay? This is not Radio Shack, JCPenney's, Belk, any of those companies, okay? When you make mistakes in the United States military, people die. That's the difference, okay? If you make a DEI mistake at Belk or a DEI mistake at McDonald's or a DEI mistake at Chick-fil-A, okay, somebody's food gets burnt or somebody gets the wrong price, all right, or somebody gets their food marked up or somebody gets the wrong food. Okay, easy fix. You make a DEI mistake in the military, somebody loses their life. That's the difference. That's why there is no room in my military for DEI. There's no room for it, because we make mistakes, people get killed. It's that simple. Now, I want to go on record and say I'm not 100% sure that this chick was in fact a DEI hire. I'm not. Therefore, I'm not going to speak about it. But what I will say is you had a co-pilot that was an Army instructor sitting right next to you. If that man said, I need you to put your left hand on top of your head and use your right hand to turn right, I'm doing it, because that's his job. And we saw what the outcome is. There's no place, and that is why Pete Hegseth is the most, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the most important selection by Donald J. Trump. Because of the Exhibit A, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, in the DOD, you make that mistake, people die. Therefore, it's time to get some Roundup and some Raid and kill it by the roots. Or this is what you're going to continue to happen. All right, this is what you're going to continue to see.
Todd, raid time.
Yep, I already got it. Boom. All right,
Hey.
raid is official. Okay, so remember, we're going to be raiding Vince's show. Just you can follow it, check it out, come back, all the good things. But I mean, again, guys, and TJ, I know you did some law enforcement stuff.
Indeed.
And Tony, I know you've never served, but I gotta ask, where's my logic here? Does that? I mean, I put it in crayon, correct? Are we there?
Makes perfect sense, brother. And it should always be that way. What it comes down to in the end is the best person for the job should always be the one doing the job. And these types of policies are going to cause cancer throughout every type of an administration. And yes, if it was something as simple as a retail outlet or, some kind of a fast food restaurant, those are things that cause calamity and they'll get somebody frustrated, but they don't cost people their lives. The problem is having those policies in place anywhere continues to leave the door open for them to continue. And given we don't have any right to tell a business what they want to do independently, but there's been the massive arguments going on in DC right now about funding for things like universities, for instance, that receive a ton of federal funding. Places like Harvard that are refusing to dismantle their DEI programs off of tax dollars that are being given to them from the United States citizens. And that's the problem, is they're saying the federal government doesn't have a right to tell us what our policy should be. Well, if you're accepting, billions of dollars from them, yes, they do. If you want that money, they can't tell you what you want to do there by any means, no, but they can also tell you you're not getting the check. And that's why we need to put an end to all of this. Everybody's trying to criticize Trump for it, but the reality is it's caused nothing but problems in workplaces, and particularly in situations like this where the ultimate, catastrophe happens and somebody ends up losing their life.
And let me be clear about this story, okay? Because there again, if you've never flown in a Black Hawk, which I have flown in so many, I want to be clear on something, because this headline angers me, but for me, it generates more questions than it does solutions, okay? And for those of you that are seeing me for the first time, I live by a certain set of rules. For me, when it comes to these arguments, my equation has to balance. I don't know what algebra it is, but, you do the problem on this side, you do the problem on that side, and there's an equal sign in the middle, and they're both the same. This does not help me. My equation does not balance when it comes to this headline in this story, because in a Black Hawk, you have two sets of controls, the pilots and the co-pilots. And if the co-pilot was an Army instructor, he could have went, whoop, stomped, pulled. Why did that not happen? So again, it creates more questions than it does answers or solutions. But having said that, just to Pete, like I said, I've been on board with Pete Hegseth since the announcement. I love everything he's doing, because the one thing a lot of these DOD members of the military, these generals, all the way down to the lowly private, one thing all of you that are wearing a uniform has forgotten: it's not a democracy. You follow orders.
That's right.
And you have one responsibility to the American people, and that is to learn and train to kill that person over there before they kill you. That's your only job. No questions. No, I'm not going to post Donald Trump's photo and J.D. Vance. No. That's not the military. That's not your job. Your job is to follow orders, train to kill, and follow the mission, accomplish the mission. That's your job.
Yeah, and
Bingo.
yeah, 100%. And all jokes aside, I mean, I this whole DEI program that they started, it was in somebody's mind and somebody's reality to hire people to be more inclusive. I mean, I don't think they ever thought about the consequences about what would happen. I mean, I get it. You're trying to give people a leg up to try to help them to get in there. But I mean, when you have people's lives involved, everyday people like, for instance, let's say you have two auto repair places that are right next to each other. One of them says DEI, pro DEI. The other one was like, nope. We send all our mechanics to school for years and years until we hire them and we vet them and blah blah. Obviously, I mean, for me, I mean, progressive or not, or for anybody that's in the chat, my children and my wife and all my family's lives are way more important than a DEI program to get people involved, to get people included or whatnot. I would not even look at that other place and take them over to the place that's actually vetted their people and trained their people properly. So I mean, it's just things like that people don't think about, that all the left people are all, DEI is a great thing for all people to be included. No, it isn't. It puts people's lives in danger, and we see that day in and day out.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%. And that's all I'm gonna say on this piece. We're just gonna move on before you get some more colorful words out of me that will get me in trouble, because I know Graham, I know Chad, and I know the Warden Royce are probably watching. And right now, you're getting me unapologetic, unfiltered, and without the Warden, so I got to be really careful. But if you want to know what I really think, I'll see you at 3. So the left, Cory Booker, we remember this Peckerwood. He stood in Congress for like 20-something hours, running his mouth. I don't know why. Maybe he was trying for like getting his little plaque from the Guinness Book of World Records, because nobody, I mean, it's been a couple weeks and still nobody knows what the heck he was talking about. But they upped their game. So apparently Cory Booker and Timu Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, sat on the steps of the Capitol building for 12 hours in protest. Okay. I don't ask me why. I just watch.
We got some power here. Now, we said we were anchoring ourselves in the moral traditions when we came out here over 10 hours ago. Hakeem and I said this is a bigger moment than politics. This is a moral moment in America, and we were going to sit here for a long time. I didn't know we'd be sitting for 10 hours, but it's 10 hours and we're still going, and we got some great people here. But the moral tradition.
Now, boys, I don't know about y'all, but those steps are concrete. There ain't no cushion. Ain't no cushion in them steps. Now, I understand I'm different than most people because I have I've got a metal butt. My hip's fake, and it's made out of ceramic and metal. Ain't no way I'm sitting on some concrete steps for 10 hours. And I can't think of one thing that I'd be willing to sit on 10-hour steps for. But that's not all. It gets better, because I guess I'm the only one that picked up on this on Twitter. So here's my post. This is the first thing that I saw. Now, I'm not going to give it away, but you guys in the chat and on the screen, you see this sign right here. This little sign right there. All right, you see what that says, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they get bored, and they break into, of course, as the leftists do, they break into song. But I just want y'all to pay attention to the guy that's leading the song and just see if you catch it.
We build this world from love.
There he is.
Yada-di-di-di-di-di-di. Then God will build this world from love. Yada-li-li-li, yada-di-di. Let's build the country we deserve now.
These people are sick. There's something wrong with them.
Hey, Todd, did he just say, let's build a country we deserve?
Yeah.
I got an idea. Why don't you take your 10 hours sitting on the concrete there and get your butts up and go help people rebuild in North Carolina instead of just sitting there and singing la-da-di-da-di-da.
You know what? I'm gonna bring this back. Okay, hold on. Let me get a good angle of his little stupid head.
There's people still suffering in North Carolina. They still don't have their homes, and they're sitting around, doing stupid stuff like that. I mean, I understand that it's whatever they want to do, but I mean, get out there and help your fellow citizens, man.
All right, so here is the dude right here. For those of you that if you can see my cursor, the guy with the nice little rainbow thing on. All right, yada-di-di-di-di-di guy. He's a Jew. He's a Jewy Jew, singing 10 feet from a Free Palestine poster. That's how stupid they are. That was of course, we make fun of these liberal, leftist, roosterfish, epitard, mouth-breathing people that have to be reminded to both blink and breathe. All right. But this is what they do. He's got his little yarmulke on with his little thing, and he's 10 feet from a free Palestine sign singing da 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 da.
The whole thing's
Somebody
a clown show.
somebody on this screen or in this chat, there's 27,000 of you. Help me here because I understand my place on this network. I'm just a lowly redneck from Mississippi, but somebody make this make sense. Please.
None of it ever makes sense at all. And the complication is these guys think they're doing something profound by talking for 25 hours straight on the congressional floor, sitting on steps for 10 hours and trying to brag about how long they've been there. But the point of that is they're not actually doing anything. To stand for a cause means something, and doesn't mean stand there for 10 hours either. It means get up and actually do something about it. And they're falling back on the thoughts of trying to gain the glory of the famous protests of the 60s and the 70s. And all it's doing is making them look like fools because they're taking money, they're going and they're protesting basically for dollars rather than for a cause, and they look like clowns. They have no idea what they're doing. You've got somebody who's obviously Jewish singing nonsense 10 feet from somebody with a free Palestine sign, and a whole bunch of other people on the steps who appeared to not have any clue why they're there at all, but, they got $100 bill and a pamphlet, and they feel like they're doing a pretty good job.
I know, and I know we got to wrap this up, but I know that there are just some things. And Tony, this is for you, my friend, because I'm going to have to ask this question and then I'm going to have to back up and punt because there are some things that I can't say because of this color, where I live, and this accent. There are just some things that I have to stay away from. But the good news is I have a minority sitting right here. Okay. Now, when I saw this, I was like,
That's Todd's disclaimer right there.
yeah, I saw this and I was watching it and I was like, that would be the equivalent of MLK giving a speech right behind a Klansman.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's that's a good way to say it. Yep. I mean, again, I mean, these people are so deranged and they're not thinking clearly or what they're doing. I mean, I bet half of them that are sitting there have no clue what they're sitting there for. They just see Jeffrey sitting there and the people are like, they do this whole unity thing, but they have no clue what they're sitting there for.
Yeah. But, to palate cleanse and to leave y'all on a more happy note, the Trump administration just approved $1.4 billion with a B, $1.4 billion to rebuild the homes for Hurricane Helene victims in Western North Carolina. He did this yesterday, and guys, I didn't see this at all on CNN, MSNBC. I didn't even see it on Fox. Did y'all see it? I saw it nowhere. Why is legacy media not covering this? I mean, we know why, but I mean, y'all can tell the people why.
Mm-hmm.
It's a terrible thing.
Yep.
And we talked about this kind of behind the scenes to give some inside baseball. The complication is all of these stories like this got swept under the rug. And as so many things did, the Hurricane Helene and the North Carolina victims was a huge thing. And we've tried to keep all of that alive by showing everybody that, there were people out there sleeping in tents while the weather was getting bad with infants and with small children that still were away from their homes, hadn't been helped out by FEMA. The federal branches that were supposed to be responsible for helping these people completely dropped the ball on it. And I think that's a great deal of the reason why they keep on sweeping any stories about it under the rug. And they certainly wouldn't want to shed any light on the fact that Donald Trump has stepped up and actually taken care of it as he promised he would. So seeing some money finally go in that direction and these guys have a chance to try to get their lives back on track is a wonderful thing. As for anybody out there who's ever lost their home, that is a really, really hard thing to bounce back from.
Yeah, for sure. And so I want to, before we get into the prayers and the super chats, and guys, now's your opportunity. We're fixing to get into the super chats in a minute. $5 or more, we'll read your question online. If you have a question for TJ, he's right here to answer all of your questions. $5 or more, we'll read it. So get your super chats in right now because we're about to start that process. But I see this, and I see $1.4 billion going to, Hurricane Helene victims, that's long overdue. All right, long overdue. Then you see the idiots from the left getting on planes and flying to El Salvador's, to protest criminals.
Mm-hmm.
Yet not one of those people, not one of them, flew to North Carolina to check on their own people. So I have to go back to, all right, because we got the midterms coming up in, 2026. At this point now, why are you still voting Democrat? They hate you. Okay, they don't care about you. They care about a rapist murdering illegal. They're willing to travel thousands of miles on your dime, by the way, on your dime, to go protest an illegal's arrest. They don't travel to North Carolina to check on their own people. They don't go to funerals of ladies and children that are being murdered and raped and sex trafficked by illegals. All they care about is the vote. To them, you are sheep, cattle, branded with a number. That's all they look at you as.
Absolutely.
Is a number.
And we talked about this last week too, how we showed a clip of that priest, of the Catholic priest, saying there's no way you can be a Democrat and a Christian at the same time when you're promoting the murder of babies, of unborn children. There's no way you can do that. And it's the same kind of thing. The left is so deranged with all their policies and the way they're thinking. I mean, Todd, you said it before, we're living in the upside down. I mean, literally there's nothing. There's no common sense anymore. I mean, and again, I like to call balls and strikes like you say, Todd, all the time. I know there's a lot of people on the right, also the rhinos that are in there, the Mitch McConnells and all them. I mean, they're just as bad as the left people over there, because they're not doing anything about it. They're all making backyard deals and whatnot, to get their policies and all their stuff. It's just, there is no more accountability in Washington. And they are taking all of our tax money and they're using it to travel to El Salvador to go defend the freaking immigrant that got deported. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, none whatsoever. And it's very frustrating, because the reason it's so frustrating to me is because I know when the midterms get here, people are still going to vote for this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the frustrating part. That's frustrating. It's not that what they're saying, it's not what they're doing, because that's what I expect. You one thing you can guarantee is for Satan to be Satan. Okay. Oh, yeah. Satan's always going to be Satan. All right. The left is always going to be the left. AOC, Bernie, Jasmine Crockett, their expectations from me are the same. I expect them to be them. But what I don't expect is for the American citizen sitting out there that's struggling to pay their bills, that can't take care of their own children, that can't put a roof over their head, that have to go live underneath a freaking overpass. They still go in line and all the way down, D, all the way down, all the way down. That's where my problem resides.
Mm-hmm.
But
no question,
folks, that is all the time that we have left. Before you go, all right, because we're going to pray this thing out. We're going to get to your questions. Don't forget $5 in the chat right now. Before we get to this, stop what you're doing. Stop chatting for just a second. Slide on over, because we deserve it. We work very hard at what we do now that Chad and Graham's not here to carry the load for Dear America this morning. Hit the like button for TJ, because he showed up, did an amazing job hanging out with us. And it was literally last minute, sent him a message. And he's like, sure thing, brother. I'd love to.
Is that how he said it?
That's how he sounds to me. Hit that like button for TJ, and then you can come back to the chat and make fun of me like you guys love to do. So having said that, TJ, I want to give you the honor of praying us out, please, sir.
Beautiful. I appreciate that, brother. Everybody gets to see me be bald this morning.
Yes, I love it. That's why I did that.
Well, of course, I'm Catholic, so I'm going to do things my way, but by no means does
that
that obligate anybody else.
Do it.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our Father, we come before you with humble hearts. We seek your grace and your guidance for this nation. Embrace our leaders with wisdom. Unite our citizens in love. Grant us peace amidst our challenges. We want to turn to you as a beacon of hope, striving together for a brighter and a more harmonious future. Father, give our United States of America your loving care. Let us pray in thanksgiving that we all can accomplish things with grace and do what you would like us to do to follow your path. We pray for our brothers and sisters overseas, that everyone will find peace in their own way as well, and that your grace will be with everyone. We need unity and healing among the world now. We ask all of this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you, sir. All right, let's get to these questions. See what we got. Today. From Alicia Victoria. Watching my friend's face turn was priceless when she said, how disgusting a judge is being arrested. I'm all like, yeah, like no one is above the law like the president, right? It made my night. I'm telling you, that's all you got to say. That's all you got to say. From Drago, I must break you. Y'all give me the strength to keep smiling in this twisted country every day. I'm here for the long ride with all you good people on Dear America. Thank you. That's pretty cool. From MX Wife, Moody Blues, Trump suit. Yeah, true statement. Moody Blues.
That's nice.
Like it. I like it. NZAB, I'm Catholic and I'm sad that the Pope died. However, I didn't support his ideas for the church. Unfortunately, there isn't any change coming. He stacked the Cardinals with the same kind of people.
I've got an honorable mention there. Cardinal Sarah from Guinea. He's conservative leaning, which I don't think is what really matters. He's a traditionalist and he wants things to stay the way that they were written. And that's a very big thing. Plus, he's got a very, very unique and kind voice. And when you hear the man speak, you can hear love and truth in his voice. So there is some hope there. That's what I'm leaning towards.
Well, for me, if you're the Pope, if you're a cardinal, if you're a bishop, if you're a priest, you don't really have to have your own values because you have an instruction manual.
That's exactly right.
It's not hard. It's written there for you.
In.
It's not there for you, I mean, it's right
That's
there,
right, brother.
black and white. There are even red letters in there that you have to pay closer attention
That's
to.
right.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. It's not hard. Redneck Chickie, have y'all heard of the federally funded sex camp for children in Colorado? Look it up. It's sickening. Surely Trump.
No.
Federally funded sex camp? I have not. And I will neither confirm nor deny until I do the research myself. Drummer for God. Florida follows Trump so well, it's a paradise compared to the blue states. I'm telling you, it's on my radar. We're moving soon. It's on my radar. NZAB, I don't understand the Republicans trying to shore up voting registration. What they need to do is change the illegal crossing of our border to a federal crime and not a civil one. That is a good point. Math teacher. The same folks complaining about separating families are the same epitards who made Mama and Papa die all alone in the hospital. Hallelujah.
There you go.
Hallelujah, math teacher. Drummer for God. Hey, Todd, I called your show a couple weeks ago. The tent revival went great, and everyone had a wonderful time. That's the best news of the show. It's the best chat of the show right there. Anytime like-minded people can get together and worship the Lord, our Savior, Jesus Christ, and change some lives along the way, that's a win-win for everybody in this country. Well, that is, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the time we have. It's 9:21 my time. Tony, I saw in the chat people were wondering where they can find you. So why don't you tell these people where they can find you?
I am on X and on IG here. I'll just put it in the live chat here because it's a lot easier to do that.
Yeah, good luck spelling it. It's confusing.
It is.
While he's doing that, TJ, where can they find you, my guy?
Well, you all can find me right here on Rumble. Of course, I am TJ Castle in real life, but I'm Free Castle on the screen. So if you've seen me in the chats, you know where I'm at. If you either click on my little avatar right next to my name there, it'll take you right over to my channel. Otherwise, I'm just Free Castle right here on Rumble. You can also find me as the producer and co-host of the I Came With Fire podcast on I Came With Fire right here on Rumble. And of course, we also simulcast the DA. So you guys have either seen us there. If you haven't been looking, but I'm here Monday through Thursday doing Take Up Your Cross. And then we've got Wednesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays with I Came With Fire. So trying to put as much content out there for all of you awesome folks as we can.
And yes, I've been trying to get TJ to do this forever. Blue used to be cool. Could TJ record some sleep devotions because his voice is so calming and beautiful? I have been telling him he missed the boat for a long time. Like he needs to be on the sleep app or whatever because, yeah. I tried to call him the other day when I couldn't sleep, and I just was like, hey, would you just read me Little Red Riding Hood so I can go to sleep? But he wouldn't do it. He refused.
I'm going to have TJ, I'm going to do like a documentary of me going to the border but I'm going to have him do the voiceover when he flies in.
Like
to the border.
every video that I post now, I want to have TJ, I'm going to email him a script and just say, just read it and send it back.
That's awesome.
But that is all the time we have. Ladies and gentlemen, listen, thank you guys for coming and hanging out. We love you so much. But I have an announcement. The hot seat at 3:00. You can either go to the Rumble thing up there and search the hot seat. Will not be long. I will be streaming on my channel and my channel alone in the near future. So find the hot seat, hit the like button, hit the follow button. But on your way out, throw us a like, throw us a follow, throw us a comment in the actual comment section and let us know. How did we do without our fearless leaders, Graham and Chad? Did we do good? Did we entertain you? Hopefully that we did. But until that, Chad will be back tomorrow. And according to Graham, TikTok. And here, we have no idea. I didn't ask because I didn't want to be, visited by some 3-letter agency. But Exactly. But to end the show, guys, you know the deal. I love you. I miss you. I mean it. I'll see you guys at 3 o'clock right here on Rumble. Take care, folks.